terrain, nearly burying them. It happened late Sunday morning in an area of the Bridgers known as Hollywood Basin. That's on the east side between Ferry and Fraser Lakes. They were skinning up a slope, climbing up the incline on their skis when the snow broke loose above them. NBC Montana's Lauren Mashmet joins us live from our newsroom. She spoke with an avalanche expert today who helped with the rescue. Lauren, it sounds like it was a close call, but they all survived.
It definitely was, Alyssa. I met with one of the crew members who responded to the scene. He tells me the 3 skiers were buried up to their chests, but only one suffered injuries. These photos are of the avalanche area with markings to show where the skiers were and where the slope gave way above them. Since they weren't completely buried, the skiers were able to dig themselves out. And there is cell service near the top of the ridge, so the group was able to call for help. Avalanche specialists say early season shallow snow can be some of the most violent.
Unfortunately for them, as they were going up, the snow was looking good. It was looking reasonable. There wasn't any obvious signs of instability, but they were traveling very close together. So when an avalanche did happen, it caught all 3 of them.
I'm told the skiers weren't following the proper precautions of only allowing one person at a time on a slope. Avalanche specialists say it's easy to trigger these early season slides. And there was only about 2 feet of snow, and it made for a rougher ride down the rocky slope. And it still had potential to completely bury the skiers, meaning they're lucky they survived. Live in the newsroom, Lauren Mashmet, NBC Montana.
Thanks, Lauren. Some facts on early season backcountry safety. Experts say areas with wind-loaded slopes are attractive to skiers because they have the deepest snow, but those areas are often the most unstable. Less snow can also mean more injuries in a slide down rough terrain. Backcountry enthusiasts should always have proper rescue gear like a beacon, probe, and a shovel, and only one person should hike or ski a slope at a time. It was a soggy morning here in the Gallatin Valley, but we did dry out a bit this afternoon. Here's a live look over Bozeman from the camera on top of our downtown studio. We got a break from the rain this afternoon, but can we expect more this evening? First Alert Chief Meteorologist Mark Hake is in the Weather Center with the answer. Mark?
Well, good evening, Southwest Montana. What a change toward much milder weather this week, and there's a reason for that. We have a very strong westerly zonal Pacific flow bringing moist and mild air from the Pacific and a few showers dancing across Southwest Montana, more concentrated, however, in the west central areas of the state. Our forecast tonight, we are going to be looking at mainly evening showers, some gusty southwest winds early and mild. A low temperature of 40 in the Bozeman area, and in Butte, maybe an evening rain or snow shower, diminishing west winds, and a low of 32. Boy, we are talking mild conditions for Halloween. I'll have more later in my First Alert forecast.
Thanks, Mark. New details tonight on an assault and possible attempted abduction here in Bozeman. Police say on October 26th, around 8:30 p.m., a 25-year-old woman said she was walking along the 200 block of Hunter's Way when a car pulled up next to her and the driver tried to grab her. She did escape. The victim described the man as white, 6'2" with a stocky build, buzz-cut hair, and a short beard. She said he was driving a red 2-door passenger car. Police recounted the incident to us today.
And the subject reached out and grabbed her on her right shoulder and said, "Come here." And she hit him with a flashlight she was carrying, and she ran away.
Investigators are asking anyone who thinks they saw that vehicle in the area or might have information on the suspect to call Crime Stoppers. That number is 586-1131. Again, that's 586-1131. 3 Belgrade men are charged with aggravated burglary after an alleged home invasion early this morning. Prosecutors say Justin Ricker, Dylan Patterson, and a boy under the age of 18 knocked on the back door of the alleged victim's apartment around 2:15 a.m. When the door opened, the men reportedly pushed their way inside, tried to beat him up, and then fled. Officers say Eric Schur drove the getaway car. He is also being charged. According to court documents, Ricker told officers they wanted to hurt the man in retaliation for a conflict between Ricker and the man's girlfriend. We have an update on a shooting that happened near Logan on Friday. The Gallatin County Sheriff's Office says that the man shot did not suffer life-threatening injuries. We first told you how the Trailways bus company called police saying a passenger had become unruly, and they dropped him on the side of I-90 just before 5 a.m. Then a short time later, 911 dispatchers say they got a call reporting someone shot a suspected trespasser, that same man, on their private property. A redshirt offensive tackle faces a felony drug charge and is indefinitely suspended from the Grizz football team. Prosecutors say sophomore Trevor Poole bought 2 doses of MDMA at a weekend party. It's considered a Schedule I dangerous drug similar to ecstasy. Court documents say officers watched Poole get the drugs from another person, and when they approached him, he admitted he had 2 pills in his pocket. Today in Justice Court, Poole was released without bail.
Additionally, he has no criminal history of any kind, and he was cooperative with law enforcement. And so based on all that, the state doesn't object to a release on his own recognizance.
3 other Grizz football players have been suspended, each one for breaking the rules. Redshirt freshman linebacker Nick Holt, junior linebacker John Canangata, and junior offensive lineman Kelby Oyland will not travel to Saturday's game in Ogden, Utah against Weber State. Coach Mick Delaney will not say anything other than that law enforcement is not involved. Republican gubernatorial candidate Rick Hill's campaign has frozen all media, advertising, polling, and travel to comply with the judge's orders not to spend a disputed $500,000 donation. According to campaign manager Brock Lawrence, no ads have run on TV, radio, or the internet since last Thursday. That's when the judge issued the restraining order. Hill claims the donation is legal because it came in between when a judge struck down Montana's law on state campaign contribution limits and when an appellate court reinstated that law. Hill's opponent Steve Bullock has asked the judge for an injunction to stop the money from being spent on the election. A massive storm slamming the East Coast has disrupted the race for the White House with just 1 week to go. President Obama canceled a campaign stop in Florida to head back to Washington to coordinate the federal response to Hurricane Sandy. Mitt Romney also toned down his campaigning, canceling events in Wisconsin, Florida, and Iowa, and encouraged people to help out however they can.
I am not worried at this point about the impact on the election. I'm worried about the impact on families.
And on the eastern coast of our nation, a lot of people are enduring some very difficult times. And
we'll
our
have
hearts
more
and
on Hurricane Sandy and its impact coming up in just a bit. With just about a week to go, we want to know who you plan to support for president. Democrat incumbent Barack Obama, Republican Mitt Romney, or Gary Johnson, the Libertarian candidate. Log on to NBCMontana.com, vote, and leave us a comment. We'll have the results on Friday on the news at 6. The Montana Redistricting Commission will be holding a public hearing on November 15th regarding Silverboe County. Silverboe County's declining population numbers did not reach the state law growth requirements of 10%. Now the county might lose yet another seat in the House of Representatives. NBC Montana's Donovan Hill has more.
Instead of allowing us to figure out a way to sustain Butte's 4 legislative districts in the long term, Butte's been kind of cut up.
Fewer people in Butte-Silverboe County means fewer lawmakers in Helena. Here's how it works. A 10% population increase is required to keep the current number of state lawmakers. So when the State Redistricting Commission started redrawing its lines based on the 2010 population, it found that Butte-Silverboe had too many lawmakers.
Well, the redistricting, as we all know, is something that comes by every 10 years that we have to look at that. And so it's something that's happening at the state level, but from a community standpoint, and that's where we're well served by our legislators and by the committees to make sure that we don't lose that representation.
Nothing's certain yet, and no one's sure which seat will go or where the new lines will be drawn. But one thing is certain, and it's got some people worried.
We're only going to have 3 main districts, and 4,000 people in our county are going to be voting in areas that are far away from the central business and the core of activity in our community.
The Montana Redistricting Commission will be holding a public hearing on November 15th regarding the plan and the possible changes. In Butte, Donovan Hill, NBC Montana.
City commissioners are meeting tonight with the Associated Students of Montana State University. Commissioners and MSU student government will be discussing a number of topics, including a proposal for a neighborhood ambassador program, the effects of the university's smoking ban on area neighborhoods, and a new parking garage location. The meeting is in room 138 of the MSU Bioscience building. It started a little bit ago at 6. Crews got to work cleaning up fallen leaves on Bozeman streets this morning. One of the first streets hit, Wallace, right in downtown Bozeman. But there's still a lot of leaves on other side streets. The city will post no parking signs on those streets the night before crews hit them. Leaf cleanup in the subdivisions is set to begin on Wednesday. Coming up, we'll have more on Hurricane Sandy, that massive storm hammering the East Coast. And will the stormy skies we saw over the Gallatin Valley stick around through the week? First Alert Chief Meteorologist Mark Hako will have the answer in the full forecast.